Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. If you did not join us at the beginning of the show, but don't worry about it. We are going to talk about talk more about the event that is going to be held on the 30th of April, the future of HR, which will be led by Dr. David Ulrich, who is the guru of HR in the contemporary era. All right, so we are still talking. We were talking about how important the development of HR should be, radically involved in Sri Lanka. Let's move on and let's talk about the organizations that are involved with this event and how they contribute to this event.
Actually, for the morning's event, we have 4 groups taking part. We have HRP, which is the HR professionals group. We have PIMA, which is the alumni of the PIM. We have CIMA and the Employees Federation, actually, who have come together to. So there's technically a big advantage in 4 large professional organizations coming together, because, and having said that, there are other bodies as well who have supported the program in terms of creating awareness of the program, and of course we have to thank either certain newspapers, all who have helped us to create this awareness, because right along the main objective of it has not been profit making. The main idea has been to share knowledge, and that's why these organizations come in, and as you have quite rightly said, 8,000 rupees is nothing for a program of this nature. And that was the whole idea in these professional bodies coming together to give each and every Sri Lankan an opportunity of listening to the professor.
All right. You mentioned to us before that people from any field, viewers who are watching, from any field can be absorbed into the show as participants. But imagine a group of maybe students or people who are quite new to the field of HR or quite new to the field of commerce, as a matter of fact. How can they, is there any way that they can interact and participate actively in this program and gain something good?
See, actually, when you talk about the programs of an HR, it doesn't matter. It's not solely confined to somebody in a department of HR. And I think that's exactly what Dinesh was trying to talk about when you're talking about boardroom level, coming down. And wherever you operate, if you're heading a marketing division, if you're heading an IT division, you need to have certain ingredients of HR within you. And I think that's where it's opened out to all organizations. And Dinesh, you might want to correct me there, or?
Yeah, so no, I think it's, it's open for all. I think, especially if you are a seasoned HR professional or you want to get into the HR field, I think this is a great opportunity.
Right.
And also that we plan that we will be able to do some streaming of this during the event or after the event, which is still in the process of discussion, but we try to do that because we want to get the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that he's going to talk about, and we want to actually being able to share that with the rest of the people.
Yeah, that's true. So basically a student and an HR manager and a CEO can sit on the same table and grasp knowledge from this event. Is that what you mean?
It's an open forum. I mean, you have a good 2.5 hours where the professor will be delivering something, then we have a Q&A session. So it is open, and we have seen quite a few students who have shown interest. In fact, we have opened it out to some of our students who are interested to come and usher in so that they get an opportunity of not only helping out with the program and also to participate in the event.
Okay, so let's talk about the sponsors. You mentioned that the sponsors have a big hand behind this event. Why don't you tell us a bit about the sponsors and how they have contributed to the event, and how much has the organizers of the event gained from that kind of push, the aid?
Definitely we owe a lot to the organizers, because to the sponsors, because it's a massive investment, and we were actually very fortunate that this time the professor is on a bit of a tour covering Singapore, Japan and things like that, so we just pulled him out, so there's not much cost if not bringing him down to the States. But having said that, there's still a cost of professional fee involved, there is logistics involved, and all that amounts to quite a big sum. And if not to the sponsors coming on board, and we have about 15 sponsors, we have a platinum sponsor, 4 gold sponsors and about 10 silver sponsors, it is their contribution which has actually helped us to give it to the public at this rate. And of course we have SIMA and Zenit who have partnered together to do the CEO forum, which is again a program entirely on an invitation, and I'm sure people are going to benefit from the program.
Definitely, definitely. Dinesh, why don't you give us a Sened's point of view to this program, and how, from the perspective of Sened, how can people view this program, and what is the importance of being actively participating in it?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, we just had a 17th anniversary,
Yes.
and Senate actually started as a building HRIS system for the local market.
Okay.
That we did about 17 years ago
So
when
you
we started.
began the organization with that point of
With
view.
which HRIS, because we saw at that time there was a gap in the market for good HRIS systems, and most of them were looking for outside Sri Lanka to bring this. And now during the last 17 years, we have actually proud to say that about more than 80 to 85% of HR systems that are being installed and used in Sri Lanka use our system.
Right.
So, which is very happy to say that. And when this opportunity came for us, it was a no-brainer, because we said, it's in our DNA.
Of course.
HR is in our DNA, and Professor Ulrich is being known for this field in the world. Now for us, we have actually started this 17 years ago for Sri Lanka. Now we have actually expanded. We are in 30 countries. Like a indigenous Sri Lankan company, actually we have gone abroad into international markets. So we are in 30 countries.
Nice.
Selling HRIS system. So not only were we looking from this program a local flavor, but we also knew that we will actually get the mileage and what we need, from an international perspective. So that's why we thought, there was no brainer for us to be a part of this. And we, as I call ourselves as enablers of HRIS to get productivity, efficiency in organizations, a program of this nature will really help.
Okay.
So that's why we thought, and we have encouraged all CEOs and people who have been involved. We need to attend this, because you have to look at this as a more of a transformational. It's a transformational of your own organization. How do you transform? How do you look at the next 5 to 10 years? Because HR is going to be your key differentiator. It's not going to be anything else. It's going to be your resources, your talent. How do you build your talent? How do you coach your talent? How do you empower and engage your talent? It's going to be the key differentiator when you go out. So I think that's why we want to be a part of this.
When you said that HR is the key differentiator when you go out, I was kind of curious. Now, people from different fields may differ to that statement.
Yeah. So when I say HR, it's not the field of HR.
Okay.
I'm talking about your human resources in the organization.
All right.
That's it. It's not the field. Field is just an enabler and what you coach, right? You're a mentor, you're a coach, you facilitate. HR is more of a facilitation of the rest of the thing. But your human resources in your organization is going to be the key differentiator, because that's how you would compete.
Yeah.
Now for us, when we expand, we was talking even before, for us the biggest challenge is how do you find international managers. We want to find managers who can go and run some of our organizations around the world. Why
is it a challenge, Dinesh?
Because we don't find that kind of experience or the talent in Sri Lanka.
Or even potential?
There is potential, but you have to bring the potential, to coach them, and train them and all that, So I think because we have seen what I called, especially from the field of IT, we have seen a brain drain,
of course,
that is going on. How do you, idea is, how do you make a brain gain? Bring them back to Sri Lanka. So that's the challenge we have. So it's important for us to be able to create this local talent.
And in your perspective, is the corporate sector of Sri Lanka, or is anybody who is involved in this kind of organization aware of the fact that there has to be this kind of coaching and training and putting up more people into this field and investing on HR in every way?
The war for talent is on. Already there is a war for talent, and I think organizations have realized that you have to invest in your people. If not, you cannot survive. And also the tendency is for people to move. I mean, in the good old days they would say Rolling Stone gathers no more. So I think that's all history these days, because people keep moving. I think young guys want to move on, they want to gain on. So if organizations don't look after them, they are definitely bound to move on. And I think that's the challenge that a lot of CEOs face today, and the programs like this will actually encourage them to understand how you hold on to your talent, and I think that's the way forward if you really want to be successful, because as Dinesh was saying, like, the war for talent is not only within your country at the moment. People are moving out. I mean, and today with so many social media, job hunting, headhunting is not a big deal.
Of course, yeah.
So,
And lots of people, according to what I noticed, is lots of people actually, the organizations that come up very new, at least, you know, the entrepreneurs who start from scratch, they always look for people who have potential, who they can work with, who can be a good team member, who can maybe participate with opinions, if not practically, you know, even from overseas, you know, somebody who can input something important into the organization. And even if they don't have experience, I've heard about many people who basically gone into really good positions because they have the employers have put trust in them because of their potential. And I think that is very important in Sri Lanka, because in certain organizations we see that you always look only for experience and maybe disregard passion and potential. But I think that's also, there should be a balance between experience and that. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think that's where we say what's called, we have again the systems we actually build, which we call a talent management framework. So talent management framework is what we look at. We look at, okay, what is your current skills and competencies, and what are the skills and competencies that you want to be able to achieve that at the next level, and then you see what is the framework that you build. And one of the key things what you mentioned, I think, is where I always say you want to look for people with passion, you know. I call them, you know, fire in the belly, you know. You need guys, you need that kind of people, because that's what that makes the difference. Because when you're out, you know, you're going to find people who can be able to do that, and that's what is needed. And it's very interesting. I don't know whether you know you actually come across this, because now talent is, especially the new generation, you know, they go into what's called freelance, and you won't believe, you know, Sri Lanka is also one of the highest rank on the freelance to the international market.
Wow.
So, I mean, I just recruited a guy who had been freelancing for about four years after, and he has been working for, you know, there are many sites that you go and work,
course,
and, you know, when you freelancing, and so, you know, he said, you know, now the thing is, I'm so tired, he said, this, been doing this for 4 years, now I want full-time employment, which is actually good in the sense, because he's going to bring in a kind of knowledge and experience that is very different from what we had been doing.
Sort of thing.
With the diverse, they're going to bring it, and that will help even our own internal teams to be able to do that. So your workforce no longer it's confined to your own officers anymore.
That's true. That's
you know, I mean, it's, you know, now we are looking, because of the issues I mentioned, is that, you know, when you want, you know, why don't we look at some people in other parts of the world who can actually work from there?
Dinesh, let's talk about this after a very short commercial break. More on the other side of this.